So now, Sister Juliana, can you please tell us your story? Because it's riveting, but it's something I want you to share and have it impact people like Dana. We just don't have enough, younger black women who are willing to share, and I know from your mentorship. So please tell us how people like Dana can meet people like you.
Well, people like Dana, first of all, I just want to say anybody coming out of college at this time in history, in 2022, my hat's off to you, my heart goes out to you, because it is a heck of a time to be starting your life and trying to see where you fit in. When I came out of college, I'm with the internship programs. I landed at a studio working with the Power Rangers. Eventually, I ended up working 10 years with the Emmy Awards. Went on to take what I learned in entertainment business, went to politics to help out people like the Democratic National Convention Committee, the NAACP, and wanted to come back home, work in agency environment so that I could continue getting my feet wet in other sectors with the knowledge that I had gained in TV, film, and eventually digital. So what has happened now, if you've already gotten a little bit of a start and say you maybe have had some entry-level experience or in the middle or whatever, COVID may have been one of your most tremendous times because of the opportunity that was afforded to some people, for all the folks that were shut down and needed help. But for people coming right out of college, trying to figure out where to go next, I honestly would be BSing if I said I had the magic answer for that. I don't know. We're all figuring it out together. And what I can say is that we are going to be here for one another to figure it out together. This is a time to lean on the organizations like the CARD and NAACP and even your alumni associations with people like Jay's organization, UCLA Anderson. Work those alumni associations and stick close to your family and collegiate families, because most of the folks that you know coming out of college are going to be the ones that end up giving you your first, your second, or your third big jobs. I got my opportunity in Hollywood from somebody I knew at San Diego State University, proud Aztec. So while I can't tell you how to navigate COVID, I can tell you that the people that you come up with are going to be more important than networking up sometimes. Some of the best advice I ever got was, you can go to these affairs and go see this lofty person speak and what have you, but the most important conversation you might have with that network mixer, it won't be the person who you're trying to get to who's sitting on stage. It's going to be the person sitting in the audience right next to you that has a complimentary dream just like yours. And that is the realest, most valuable thing I can say is, don't be afraid, because we're all figuring this strange time out, to lock arms with your friends. Look left and right, not just up when you're trying to get ahead. Because I promise you, I have a lot of people to thank for where I am right now. They weren't steps ahead of me. They were the people that came up with me in school, and we just pulled one another up. So I can say thank you to Tammy Solomon, who's sitting right there at Disney Studios right now. Thank you to Robin Harrison, who's sitting there at the NAACP Hollywood Bureau. Thank you to Jamal Finkley at YouTube Black Tree, and so many other people that I can say have journeys that are as interesting or much more compelling than mine. I have too many people to thank. So look right, look left when you're networking. Don't forget your people. And if you have storytelling skills, whether it's by camera or you're a trained writer, just continue to look at where the next piece of technology is coming from that helps people communicate with one another. Because no matter what the technology is, it's all being used to make a point to somebody. And you already have a leg up on everybody because you know how to distill the point and find the relevance. So never be afraid of new technology, because somebody's going to need to make a point with it.
And tell us about Mentor Mesh. This is
MentorMesh.io. Go there right now, especially if you are a person who's interested in technology in the sense of you want to be a product manager or a program manager or a company like Salesforce or Adobe or Microsoft and what have you. MentorMesh.io was founded by a man named Jay Taylor. That's J.A.E. Taylor, and he has been a tremendous force in my life because one of Jay's reasons for getting up in the morning is that he wants more black and brown and other people to have a way into tech without feeling intimidated by the process. He tells his story about the fact that he didn't have a degree when he got his first tech jobs and started working his way up. So the barriers are not what people sometimes want you to believe. And if you're a person that feels like there's a wall you're trying to scale and you need somebody to throw you a rope, I need you to go to mentormesh.io, sign up, and look out for links to our mobile application that connects you not only with Jay, but other people to network with that have accelerator program knowledge. If you're looking for, information about who's the best to go to for your project management certification. And for me, I ended up with Mentor Mesh because I needed to shore up some skills that I already had in the product development area. So even with somebody like me who's considered more senior, when technology is new, I got to brush up. It's sort of like when attorneys go to get continuing education because the law keeps changing. That kind of culture is already embedded in places like lawyers and doctors and stuff like that. And continuing education is not necessarily a mindset that other sectors have been primed to indulge in. So I'm here to tell you, don't be sitting around the table because you've been around a while acting like you know everything. Things keep changing. Right? So mentormesh.io, I don't care if you are fresh out of college or mid-management, there is a connection for you to be made. If for nothing else, just come say hi because we're a great community.
Thank you, Julia. I found Mentor Mesh. I joined the Mentor Mesh space about a week ago. I saw her on LinkedIn.
How has your life changed?
Man, it's changed. I met quite a few people who want me to help aggregate some folks to do a topic around some of those people that we really need to reach. But some of those young people can do something called reverse mentoring. Some of these young people know more about tech and are more linguistic around things that people are still trying to get certifications for and still trying to scale. These are the things that I want to start putting these folks in the same room together and figure out what we can do to meet each other and have some impact on something that we can feel. So Mentor Mesh, I plan on doing a space or helping you help me with a space that I think all of us can connect with. So that's what I'm hoping is that this table can connect with a Mentor Mesh space and we can calendar it. It's audio only. But
not always.
So we can add video to it?
Absolutely. So in the Mentor Mesh space,
man, that's all I see is the audio one.
The Mentor Mesh space is specifically a community platform. Every place that we do events it's based on the type of platform where the event is. So when we were doing LinkedIn audio, it's because it's about LinkedIn audio. Sometimes we do YouTube. Sometimes we do streaming. We do Clubhouse.
Okay, you said enough, man. I want to talk to you.
You found us on social audio because social audio is like the thing that everybody is looking at as the next big lane that brands are thinking about utilizing. To me, it's just an extension of podcast, which is an extension of like radio on demand.
Right, and I don't get it because audio is great, but the advent of adding video on top of that is my God.
Oh, come on, you know what that is. So the benefit of social audio is that unlike Zoom, where you have to be, I have to do my hair if I want to see you on Zoom video. I can be on Clubhouse with you and be like, doing dishes and multitasking. It's the idea of multitasking while you do something that's like a live podcast that connects people and you can just be in your hair curlers and nobody knows it.
Mm-hmm. And the good thing about it is that you didn't get a chance to see the person. This image, this illusion of what we see. With social audio, all you heard was the voice and the connection from the spirit. And that's why Clubhouse blew like it blew when everything was shut down. The visual was gone.
Okay.
They both have their purposes. Sometimes I like seeing a face, and other times I don't need y'all seeing my face.
The other thing you gotta remember is that your brain is doing different things when you're watching versus just listening, right? So one of the things we don't talk about enough, so in terms of sensory perception, right, when you listen to words, there's always an interpretive layer, right? There are sounds, your brain has to interpret them and make sense of them. Your optic nerve goes directly to your brain. There is no interpretation, you're just absorbing it. And so even though, folks are talking while you're looking at them, it is much easier when you have something where people are watching, for people to just lean back and not really engage. When they're just listening, and I'm sure you've noticed this yourself. Like if you're riding in your car and you hear a news report about something while you're driving, you're like, whoa, wait, what's going on? Whereas when you're watching TV, the same report, and you're just like, whatever, right? Because you're just leaning back and you're not fully engaged. So on the one hand, what the beauty of video-based teleconferencing is that you get to see body language. You can potentially be more engaged. And in small group communication, that's great. If there's only 3 people in the conversation and y'all are all looking at each other, it's very intense. But when you get to 50, 100, 200 people, what are you really doing? What is the visual actually adding? It's like watching TV. You're going to lean back. And unless somebody has scripted a story for you to absorb, you're not going to be engaged.
Okay.
So you're better off in that situation if it's a group conversation to think about other solutions.
Right.
Well, sticking with Jay Tucker, what is your feeling about radio, podcasting, social audio? Are these things going to replace conventional types of radio and whatnot, or are they going to be complementary? Because it sounds like what you're talking about is as compelling as the new, like what you said on a few minutes ago about driving in your car and you hear a news report. Talk radio, I mean, all I got to say is Rush Limbaugh. So is this how, is podcasting going to become even more mainstream than it is right now and replace radio as we know it?
No, it's not going to replace. So what you see now is this age of what I call the age of personalization. So you're seeing more and more that people dictate their own entertainment and communications experience, their own media experience, right? It's coming from the person and going outward, as opposed to people broadcasting stuff to you and having one solution for 30 million people. I think the, satellite, podcasting, streaming, etc., create more options for people, and you have more clusters, a more diverse set of clusters that are more passionate about specific things. But I don't think that podcasts can really replace radio the way we remember radio. I will say that one challenge is that the radio business really transformed into a broadcast model that was a national model and took away the local voices and some of the interactivity. And so, to the degree that, some podcasts can give that back, and people feel like this is from my, these folks are repping my neighborhood or my city or my culture, that has value. But I think eventually, folks will realize that there's something to having radio solutions that do that again, right? And so part of this also has to do around business models, right? So, a big part of the radio money machine is around advertising. And I think people are going to have to rethink that for radio to survive, right? Brand partnerships, thinking about music discovery and promoting live events through radio and other kinds of things, that go beyond just the advertiser relationship. But none of the new ways to get audio mean that you're going to kill off radio. So, no, I think they're going to coexist in some.
It just seems like to me, podcasting is more affinity based, right?
A couple guys who got to leave. Mitch wanted to say goodbye to everybody, but this is not this is what Jay always says, to be continued.
That's right.
So, good. Thank you, man.
All right, no
Mitch,
problem.
it's good to see you.
Nice to see you.
Pleasure to meet you, man.
Nice
Pleasure
to
to
see you
meet you.
guys. We'll see each other again, and the man down there, a very important guy.
Yeah, that's right.
They said perhaps that donut thing.
Out there, that's it.
Don't let me. Okay.
All right, I see you, man. We'll talk. Come on.
Definitely.
Okay.
And brother Lemur has to leave us. So Lemur, can you share with the people who, what, why, where, how, anything else? Just tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Oh, wow.
Starting with today. What are you doing? You're on Zooms and all.
Well, starting with today, it's fantastic to meet you all here in real world space. Been a long time, right? I haven't seen this gentleman here outside of Zoom for 2.5 plus. So it's fantastic to be here. So I'm a designer. That's how I would describe myself, right? Designer meaning coming from the heart and the soul around what you want someone to experience. So in my case of kind of meeting both these guys back in the day was the vision around a platform that will allow people to connect for their careers and what could they experience in that can make it better for them. And so more recently, some of the stuff I've been doing is around how we take this principle around blockchain and all these acronyms that we're now bombarded by on a daily basis and elevate that into, again, a heightened experience of what culture can be, what economics can be, and frankly, what soul can be. So a lot of what we're trying to do is to make sure that whatever we're putting out there is of the highest execution possible, and that the people that are coming into it are the voices that may or may not have been listened to, and certainly should have and will be cherished because they are on the right platform in the future. So it's kind of like...
Just say, I mean, I just want to know what I can know about Origin from your mouth to their lips, man. Tell us about Origin.
I mean, we're one of a wave and an evolution of people trying to recognize value from the cultural perspective. I mean, we're taking artifacts of all sorts, whether that's media assets in my case, or that's general collectibles, or that's luxury goods or art. There's many other verticals that we'll have to go along with that, but effectively putting it out there that, hey, there's a more robust way to really set this stuff up than you might see in the media right now. And that more robust way is going to set you up for so many different ways to benefit from that, and particularly your audiences and your communities to also benefit from that, whether that's directly through economics or that's experience of viewing it in different formats. We kind of want to have Origin be something that's at the level of what you would expect a real institution without manipulated agendas operating to reveal ingenuity to the world. So that's kind of the high level pitch of what we're trying to do.
Not for me, but no, really, man. This is really where I believe me sharing with people coming into exploration can be a game changer, because this is growing so quickly that I know that they'll keep pace with it, but they again won't be able to grasp it in a way where they can actually conversion. So I'm praying that whatever I learn, I'll share. But I'm counting on you guys to get in on this stuff at whatever level you can, so that you can interpret it and figure out what it can be for you. Because I believe this is blockchain, it's crypto, it's all these things demystified. Transparency, authentication, certification. There's all these things that I think we need to get better at and sharing with our communities, our friends, so that, again, as Jay said, doesn't move around us, over us, and we just don't miss the train. So, again, just watch out for it. I'm going to do everything I can to share everything I learned with you guys in this team. So we're getting ready to break contact. I've got everybody's lunch. Everybody needs to just show their validation cards if you park. And we're getting ready to leave here. But thank you guys again for joining us today. This was fantastic. So thank you. Give us a round of applause. And again, we're gonna give everybody a copy of this, because to me, this is my love letter to you guys. Okay, I'm not publishing this, but Jay's often said, "Hey man, I need to do a stakeholders meeting." So I'm hoping at some point we can actually have one of those, so we can actually find out what it is that we really want to do together, collaboratively.
Well, this is a good step. This was It's almost a stake over here.
The coalition of the willing.
I just don't like that the acronym spells cows, but no.
Change it around, baby.
So one of the things that I encourage you to think about, though, because when I'm hearing Kev, and we've talked about this before, you know, we collectively have a ton of knowledge and experience, and there's, you know, the industry is always changing. We're talking about trying to like eliminate the gap between these trends and people's ability to do something about them, or at least understand them. But there's a difference between intelligence and actionable intelligence, right? And so if we want people to be able to capitalize on these trends, then there's a whole bunch of unsexy work about kind of building out some infrastructure so that, one, folks have access to funding when they have a great idea. Two, they have access to talent. This was one of the things that Lemaire was working on before, right? And then three, that folks have access to the market too, right? And so we gotta, you know, we talk about poverty often simply in economic terms. Like, you know, you go to an underserved neighborhood or whatever, they don't have money. Like, that's true. But there's more to it if you want to actually have success. You have to have access to